Ah, arrived.
We see a leaf, and we probably see Dr. Lucas Wang's Tesla with 60 days charging there.
One of our mandates that we're coming up on is that the entire global organization of IKEA has to be powered through renewable energy that we own personally. Here in Canada, we own 2 wind farms in Alberta, about 110 megawatts capacity. That takes care of all of Canada, and it also takes care of a good portion of our operation in the States. We're currently sitting at about 90 to 95% complete on this goal. Now, this isn't just our stores. It's the large warehouses that hold our products. It's the office buildings that our corporate offices are in. It's the manufacturers that we own. All of these have to be powered through renewable energy or offset by it in the next 18 months. So that's something fairly ambitious, especially when you consider that we have about 500 of these buildings around the world, right? Plus warehouses to keep us all in stock. A couple of other things that we've got. We're rolling out in various markets around the world home solar solutions. As markets allow us to. Italy is one of the most recent countries. Germany and England were 2 of the first countries. So people can go to IKEA, sit down, plan out, and install in their homes a PV system. We help you through the application process for any permits that are required. We let you know what sort of, if it's a feed-in tariff and what sort of tariffs you can expect, and how to size it for your home and your building. Another thing that we've done over the past 5 years is that we've currently switched all of our product range and all of our building to LED lighting. This is the first store in Canada to open with 100% LED. There is nothing other than LED. All of our signs, all of our retail lights, all of our above lights, all LED. What was particularly fun about this is that in certain ways we had to pioneer the technology. It's not that we're creating LED technology, but when you have 5,000 individual fixtures that are custom made for IKEA, it gets a little challenging logistically. 5,000 per store, sorry. It gets a little challenging logistically to come up with a solution that a business can afford. Luckily, with the size and the scope and the scale of IKEA, we can help that along. We can partner with manufacturers to continually develop it so that it becomes sustainable, it becomes inexpensive enough for us to roll out across the world. So, currently in Canada, by the end of this year, every store will be all LED. From an energy standpoint, which I think is probably your bread and butter, so to speak, your primary interest, those are some of the big projects that we're doing. We're constantly looking to reduce our footprint, both energy-wise, as well as increase how we're contributing back into the communities that we're with. One of the reasons why we're here. All right, guys, couple of common questions. So if you've asked this, well, you get to hear it again. Some people have asked, why is it all wavy and up and down? That is because the solar panels are following the contour of the roof. The roof is sloped to allow drainage for water on here. So they kind of have to slope it around. If they were to shim it up and level it all out, then that just becomes more of a chance for wind to shift it, more of a chance for bad things to happen on my roof. Sometimes I'm popular. What's that?
A couple degrees here or there doesn't make any difference.
Not really from a sun shining down on it kind of thing.
So can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You mentioned that 2 or 3 of the stores in Canada were in jurisdictions that had unfavorable legislation for rooftop solar installation. Would that now include Nova Scotia, now that it's been dropped down to 100 megawatts? If you were starting again, would you still put a big system like this on?
We probably would scale the size back a bit.
To 100 megawatts.
No. Oh God. 100
kilowatts.
100 kilowatts. No. Never. We would look at the total capacity of the building system, and we'd probably scale it so that at no point in time were we ever wasting potential. Right?
Okay. So
go ahead. Yeah.
What's the minimum daytime load on the building roughly?
Overnights we're sitting between 350 and 400 kilowatts. Okay. On a day like today where I don't need a lot of heating or a lot of cooling, we're around 580 to 640. Just depending on what the building needs. Yeah. So on a day like today, we're within probably 5% of its maximum capability. Well, the sun's nice and high, so it is capable of providing everything that the building requires. Just right now, the best way I can describe it is it's kind of tuning itself down to sit between the 90 and 95 percentile, right? So when I'm looking at the graphs of production and I see this sawtooth jagged thing because of usage spikes and whatnot, it kind of drives me a little crazy, but I'll bite my tongue. We'll live with it for a little bit. We are looking a little bit into storage, how to store this energy. The problem is for a short period of time, we produce a lot of energy that we would have to store, and that would be very, very expensive with today's current technology. Also, they tell me I got to pay a little bit more of the building off before they'll give me money. So in about 4 years, we'll see what's what and what we can do. Yeah. Some of you asked, what are these windows? These are skylights. So you see the big domes? Those are just skylights. But the ones that are kind of wedge-shaped, those are actually part of our smoke extraction system. In terms of if a fire happens in there, they're designed to pop open to allow smoke relief to go out, allowing us to get people out and live in the building just a little bit longer without worrying for smoke inhalation. Cool. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How many square feet is the building?
The building, including the second floor and offices, is about 340,000 square feet.
Huge.
You're saying that because you're over capacity, you have to, and you can't feed anything back in, you have to shut a bunch of them off.
Not quite. We don't do that. The best way I can describe it, the best way I understand it, is that we tune it down. We tune down the efficiency of what it's producing.
Okay. Was that through a separate company, like system, or how does that?
We work with a company in Toronto called Resco. They're kind of the people that we deal with on all of our PV systems, and they worked with Fronius to monitor it. We pay them a maintenance contract. Every day they're on the system. They're looking to see if I have any faults, any inverters not working, and they work with it to make sure that the software can do what we need it to do on the inverters to make sure that we're within the parameters of our license.
Since I have been to IKEA before, I will not put the details here. If you want to learn more, go check out the video, which had linked in the description below. We went to the powerhouse, which is more interesting to see.
Over here to my left, this is the panel where the majority of the inverters feed in. From here, it gets coupled up through the splitter and into the big transformer here. It gets stepped up to 600 volts from 480, which is what the inverters transform the DC power from. Over here to my right, we have a very small diagram of the overall layout, how the inverters and whatnot go through. But you can see here, this is how we translate it into usable energy. This is the net meter, so this is what kind of feeds back information into the system. The inverters are all networked together. So this meter here is responsible for always maintaining some feed in from Nova Scotia Power, and it feeds back up to all the inverters through the network and says, all right, I can take a little bit more, or oh crap, shut it down, bring it back up. all that sort of thing. All right. Yes, sir.
Do you then just take sort of a main line back to the main panel and just connect it to the main distribution panel, and that's
Main
right there?
distribution's this big gray block right here.
This one here.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Cool.
This is the transformer as well.
That's the transformer. So it steps it from 480 up to 600 volt.
So how do you ensure to Nova Scotia Power's satisfaction? I mean, obviously you have a system that does the internal energy monitoring, and that system passes muster with Nova Scotia Power to ensure satisfy them that there's no backfeeding.
So before they would allow us to turn it on, we had to go through a lengthy commissioning process, and it actually took us close to 4 months. We had to demonstrate the software. We were able to turn it on and do data logging to their satisfaction, submit the records to them. At any point in time, they can come down here and say, prove to me that you're not backfeeding to the grid. All right, well, here's my system, here's this, here's that, here's that. They can come down at any...
All a bespoke thing, because it's all one-off design. There's not going to be any
pretty
like,
much.
this satisfies such and such ISO criteria, such and such. It's all, well, here's this.
Here's how we do it. Their engineers met with our engineers. There's back and forth, back and forth. But ultimately, I believe as part of this meter, there is a data logging portion that they can do it, that they can come plug into, get more accurate records than just off the software. I also believe that as part of our maintenance contract with Resco Energy is that there is a reporting function of that. Finally, Nova Scotia Power can probably monitor power being fed back into them. It would be surprising me if they couldn't.
You have your own substation.
Well, we have our own, we're at the head of the distribution for this entire area, so we're number one on the grid. We're the only one with a solar system, so.
Just for scaling, we started at Emera, it was a 50 kilowatt solar. Now we're here, this is a 800 kilowatt solar, so an order of magnitude bigger. And you're gonna go out and you're gonna see 3 megawatts of wind, right? So several times bigger than that as well. Oh, you guys made it. Wow. We totally would have left you out. Jeez. Did you bring one for me? So you're about to go to another site that goes even bigger. And I'll tell you this as well, that solar has a capacity factor on the order of about 10% or 11, 12%. Wind turbines have a capacity factor of about 35 to upwards of 40%. So not only is the site that you're about to go to 6 times more powerful than this, it also produces in excess of 3 times more capacity factor. So think about that for just a minute. That means 6 and 3 produces 18 times the amount of energy at the wind site you're about to go to that was right here. So pretty neat stuff.
Okay, Dr. Lucas Swan is leaving us, but his brother grandson, he will guide us to the wind farm. As you have already heard about Dr. Swan's statement on that, I'll leave the road scenery to you. See you there.